Black households in the United States have, on average, considerably less wealth than white households. In 2016, the average wealth of black households was $140,000. The corresponding level for white-headed households was $900,000, nearly 6.5 times greater. The fact that black people on average have considerably less wealth than white people is not just an inequality of outcomes, but an inequality of opportunity. Black families suffer the long-standing legacy of racially discriminatory housing policies. One proposal to remedy that legacy is called the 21st Century Homestead Act. The author of the plan is Mehrsa Baradaran. She's a professor of law at the University of California, Irvine School of Law. She's the author of The Color of Money: Black Banks and the Racial Wealth Gap. Professor Mehrsa Baradaran, thank you for joining me. I think it's clear, especially today, it takes money to make money, which is why sometimes people who are poor just sort of continue to get more and more mired into poverty. You talk about financial ladders. What do you mean by that?
Financial ladders are the New Deal FHA mortgage loans and GI Bills, right? The way, Ira Katznelson calls it white affirmative action. It was a systematic creation of wealth through a mortgage loan that was underwritten by the federal government. They protected it against default, they capped interest rates, and then they built the suburbs essentially with these loans. And on the other hand, the FHA was very explicit about the kinds of homes and people they would lend to. And it was not accidentally racially discriminatory. One side was also getting things like credit cards and flexible low-cost credit. And this side was getting installment lenders, now payday lenders. If you look at the map of where the payday lenders are versus where are the banks that do your financial stuff for free, where are the check cashers and the Western Unions and the places that charge a toll and high overdraft and all of that stuff, you can map it onto those red lines.
I don't know how you go back and remedy those things that are the outputs of years of redlining.
We have a system called damages in contracts if you breach a promise. And I would say that the nation has breached over and over again the promises held in those equal protection amendments: equal protection under the law, due process, equal access to voting, equal access to the goodies that the democracy is supposed to provide. Not only that, but that the property and their contract rights weren't protected by law. And that's a necessity for capitalism to function. And so having breached that promise, you provide a remedy. And the thing that the law recognizes also is that the remedy is never going to be enough. It's never going to make you whole, but it could financially close some of those gaps. And it behooves our nation to do that quickly and robustly. You have truth and reconciliation. You have a process of reparations. We have never done that.
I think people, when they're talking about the law, are very comfortable with the word remedy. If you shift into the word reparations, everybody gets a little fidgety and uncomfortable.
The problem is this idea, this understanding that if we help the Black population, that is harming the majority. It is a system that doesn't recognize the headwinds that people face or the tailwinds that some people have. The fact that so much of people's good luck and hard work is that legacy of privilege. I think privilege is too personalized. I would make it a system that allowed you to have lots of buffers and lots of ladders.
What do you think should change in banking policy that would actually make things a little more fair?
I think the thing that banking policy needs to do is understand that banking policy is policy, that these are decisions that have redistributional effects, that affect people's lives. And if you measure the economy by what the Dow and NASDAQ is doing, then you're not getting what people are feeling on the ground, what people can have access to food or shelter. So why not just measure, instead of stocks, the people in homes that are stable, the children who are getting, hot lunches, all sorts of metrics that actually affect people's lives. And those are just as relevant, if not more, than how much, stock prices and dividends are rising.
Mehrsa Baradaran, thank you so much. Very insightful. Really appreciate it.